Call to order the Keokuk City Council meeting, July 7th, 2022, 501 Main Street, 5:30 PM. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3, roll call.
Crenshaw,
Here.
Altai,
Here.
Garcia.
Here.
Lynn,
Here.
Hellenthal,
Hellenthal.
Here.
Andrews,
Here.
Marsden,
Here.
Bryant, Greenwald,
Here.
all present.
Item number 4, Mayor's Correspondence. I would like to take a very special thanks to all who attended the Road of Honor dedication on Thursday, June 30th, and thanks to the Road of Honor Committee for all their hard work. Thanks to all the speakers and the workers who donated their time and energy for this great project. I would also like to give thanks to the Park and Rec Board for a great 4th of July celebration in the park. Fun time was had by all, and it was a great day. There's lots going on this weekend in Keokuk, Iowa. So if you haven't heard of everything that's going on, there's things like the kids musical called Legally Blonde, and it will be at the Grand Theater Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. There is an art exhibit at our public library called All About Color. It starts Friday night, July 8th at 5 to 7. Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, River City Mall has, in the parking lot, we have the Farmers Market. Saturday, July 9th, Main Street Inc. is having their yearly fundraiser, and it's called Moonlight on Serendipity between Main and Blondo on North 5th. Come join the fun. It starts at 6:30. There is a Freedom Fest in Warsaw, Illinois, starting at 10 a.m., and it's a parade, poker run, games, and music. And the Rat Pack car show in Hamilton City Park is at 9 a.m. Sunday, well, almost forgot the Lee County Fair. It started actually today, and it runs through the weekend, and it's at the Donaldson Fairgrounds, and there's all kinds of wonderful things that you can attend. So that's a great place to spend your weekend. Sunday, July 10th, the Southside Boat Club is having their 10th annual Fish Fry fundraiser, and the proceeds go to the Women's Mermaid Group for projects in the coming year, and those projects include children's holiday parties, high school scholarships, as well as riverfront projects and help with people that need financial help. It starts at noon. There's an auction and live music. Then on July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, that is set for Crazy Days and citywide yard sales. Make sure you clean out your attics, basements, and closets and join in the yard sales. Then shop local with our local businesses for all their summer sales. I hope to see you all there. Item number 5, citizens' request. If you are coming to the podium, please state your name and address and speak into the microphone.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. My name is Nathan Fox. I live at 618 Franklin Street in First Ward. I have sent an email to both Casey Crenshaw, yourself, Mr. O'Donnell, and Ms. Crenshaw. Ms. Crenshaw and Ms. Barnes have both stopped by the house. They've looked at the house and property in question. So on 628 Franklin Street, it is a derelict house that has been better part of 5 years abandoned. It is still technically owned and taxpayer paid, but there has been no upkeep of the house done. It's been mowed once a year for 5 years. The basement windows are broken out. There's a hole in the roof. The second floor is caving into the first, and metal flashing blows off on a regular basis for every windstorm we have. The chimney is getting ready to collapse. It is missing brick. It could fall over at any time one of these next windstorms. After talking with Ms. Barnes and Ms. Crenshaw, I have noticed there is a lack of legislation within our code of safety standards for the city facilities and buildings. If we as neighborhoods and we as taxpayers have these properties and we're held to a standard to uphold the look of our property, why aren't these slumlords from out of state being held to the same standard? Why aren't there timelines being required by these people to get these buildings up to code and within city standards? This building has been like this for 5 years, and that's 5 years too long. There should have been a 30 or 90-day plan of action window with a budget proposed to the city to get it up to standard and then condemned if it was not reached within that 30 to 90-day window. That should have been done 5 years ago, and we still don't have it done, and there's no legislation still within the city to get rid of these condemnable houses that are in derelict condition that make our community look terrible.
Anybody want to ask any questions, anything?
From the city, yes, Ms. Barnes stopped by, and the only current process there is she can put it up as non-inhabitable because the second floor is caving into the first, and then he has 30 days to provide a plan of action. Then it has to go to the court, and when it's all said and done, it's like a year-long or plus process, and it's already been 5 years. So there should be a set timeline within the city code of conduct that these are our minimum standards, which you have. I've referenced all those in my original email to Ms. Crenshaw and Ms. Barnes, but with there should be a dating, a timeline, a 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day window that it's owed to the city to get this property up to code. And if it is not, it is claimed by the city and turned over to whoever wants to buy it immediately.
Pam, does that have to deal with the vacant lot registry that we've talked about setting the timeline? I know the courts, that's not something the city can legislate or change the timeline on that.
We do have vacant, I'm not going to say vacant, we have nuisance standards that cover that. But as you all well know that, if it's not a structural hazard, the city does not have the money to take them down. So what actually happens is they're posted and safe to occupy. They may sit there. We do try to get them boarded up, make sure the property is mown. But other than that, until they actually become a structural hazard, we can take them to court, but in turn, the city's still responsible to take them down if the property owner chooses not to.
And that leads back to my original email, which Ms. Crenshaw has seen. Go
Who
ahead.
determines, or when is it determined when it's structurally unsafe? And if there is somebody that's interested in buying it and tearing it down so the city doesn't have to, when can we allow that to happen as well?
So if the property owner's paying taxes, it's not, it's not going to be able to be purchased like, or a 657, which is a abandoned property.
Okay.
So, and this gentleman that owns the property owns quite a few in town.
Yeah.
They do just, most of them sit if he doesn't rent them. We've posted many of them unsafe. We're kind of just stuck as far as maybe at one point when we get the vacant registry, property registry, that if there's enough bite in enforcement, which is, we're going to have to look long and hard on that for property owners that do this, and then property owners just that do take care of them that maybe don't want them rented out. I feel that the gentleman that owns the property, he's not going to do anything with them. We can take him to court. I mean, we can do that, and we've done that before. But not a lot happens when you take it to court.
Why isn't there a clause within our city code of conduct that references eminent domain, that if you don't keep that facility up to city standards, the city automatically takes ownership of it under eminent domain because you're not properly taking care of it yourself?
Part of it relates to Iowa law in that even though the property is in disrepair, they still have property rights. And it's not easy to take somebody's property. So what I will tell you is that we have some different legislation that's in the works that has been made a priority by the city council as one of their goals to get a vacant property registry, to get a rental housing inspection program going. And we've also committed $300,000 this year to demolition or fix up of these properties. What you have to realize is that if the city takes possession, each of these properties is somewhere between $20,000 to $50,000 to remove. And on a normal year, we budget $150,000. We've taken some of our American Rescue Plan money and added to that so that we have $300,000 this year. But even at $300,000, the number of houses that we have to take down, it'll put a dent into it, but not a very big one.
And I understand that, but going back to what Ms. Crenshaw was hinting at, we have offered to purchase this house from the city at no cost to the city and tear it down ourselves and level the lot and bring it to code.
But we don't own it, and the only way we can take it is through the court, which you just said is going to take, as you just stated, is going to take a long time because they have property rights.
Correct, and that's where we need to get back to the legislation. They do have property rights, but you can create laws and legislation along with the state of Iowa that can condemn these houses sooner and take care of these situations sooner. 5 years is too long. I have 2 toddlers that live next to that. Giant pieces of metal flashing have blown off their roof, and we're lucky no one's gotten hurt. Now, we've had video evidence at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning of bums going in and out of the house, a squad at night, stealing wood, stealing wire, stealing plumbing. This is a safety hazard for our community as a whole. At some point, I get what you're saying, but there needs to be a law and legislation that stops this from happening and just takes the property away from an owner who's causing a safety hazard in our community.
Contact your legislator, when we will too. Have you spoke with Mr. Davis regarding trying to purchase it?
Yes, multiple times. He says he insists that he has too much money invested into it to sell the property.
Okay.
A property that has the size of a Volkswagen Beetle hole in the roof is too much money invested into it.
I've been on vacation this week, so I will speak to Casey on Monday.
Yes.
We will see if maybe we can get a warrant to go in and inspect.
I know Ms. Barnes went by yesterday and she did a exterior inspection on the facility. She was very helpful and she said she's going to put a snow fence and one of the signs on it says unsafe to occupy because the second floor is caving into the first. And matter of fact, was it 2 weeks ago? We heard a loud crash from the house. I'm pretty sure a big chunk of it probably came down.
So I'll talk to her on Monday and we'll see if there's anything else we can do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
My name is Chad Nye, and I come to talk about Lincoln Avenue. There's 2 blocks on Lincoln Avenue out by the Elks that haven't been worked on. They've been like that for, one of them is 1 lane wide, the other one is probably 1.5 lanes of gravel wide. They've been like that for over 100 years. The house on one end down at the Elks was built in 1888. The house on the other end of the 2-block area was built in 1900, I think. And 27 years ago, I got a hold of Dave Barrett, asked the city about what was up on the road, if they would do something about it or anything, and widen it out, make it 2 lanes wide and stuff. And he said, not at that time and stuff. So I waited 25 years, and I got a hold of Robert Hellenthal, asked him to come out and take a look at it, and he came out and took a look at it. And at that time, he was fairly new, and he said that he would think about it or talk it over and get back with me on it, right? Okay. So I waited, 2 years went by, 27 years I waited. And I got back hold of him and asked him about it, and he said, not at this time. Basically, we didn't have enough money for it. So I discussed, he come back out again then with Kathy, or I talked to him on the phone, and then he come back out with the mayor. And they looked the road over and stuff, and we agreed on block 23, 2300 block of Lincoln. He said that he could, there's some dirt that needs taken out and the side of the road straightened and gravel that. And he agreed that he could do that in the next month or two. Then we got block 24, and block 24 is only about 1 lane wide. If you've ever been down Lincoln Avenue, you have to pull over to the side to let the other car pass, or vice versa. And when Mrs. Barnes, my neighbor across the street, she's had a problem here lately, and the fire department and the ambulance have come out 4 different times that I know of, and they headbutt right there in the road. They can't pass each other on the road, so they have to back up to get out. And I think one thing that's kind of a safety hazard, and I think after 100 years of having the road, the culvert, actually, the east side, which I live on, the culverts from the west side are 3 foot past the center line of the road to where they're actually over the halfway limit of the road where their culverts are. And they're supposed to be 22 feet back that way, roughly 22 feet I measured back to where their culverts should be, towards the west. West, yeah. And I'd come down just to try and talk to everybody. I talked to the council people, and I had all of them but one out there, I think, or 2. And they all looked it over, and they know what I'm talking about and stuff. And I come down, and Kathy and Robert were out there, and they said that block 24 there's some trees growing in the roadway, about 15 or 20 of them, and there's some fairly tall ones and stuff. And they'd have to be taken out and everything, and then have it graded down and stuff. But Robert talked like $125,000 to $130,000 to do it. And I come down to see if there's enough money to get it done, basically. That's all I have to say.
Robert, what's your take on this? You know, you've been out there and looked at it and know what roadway he's talking about, and it's been that way, like he said, for 100 years. So is this something that can be accomplished now?
I feel with the current budget situation that this isn't the only street in town that you will not be able to pass 2 cars on. We have multiple streets that are that way, that are paved and unpaved. I don't see the benefit to moving the road over. It's still within the right of way. And I did state 125 or 130,000 to clear all it out. Once you get to the $120,000 threshold, which I think will easily get to that point, then it will have to be engineered. All the trees in the pictures that I've presented will have to be removed. That'll all have to be cored out, rock base put back down. All the driveways that are on the west side of this road will all have to be regraded, and some of them will have to go a great distance onto the private property owners to get the grade that they would need to access their property. Up on Johnson Street, there's a private drive, whatever picture that is, that would have to be either completely redone or removed totally. In photo 6, you can see that there's a private drive there. I went back and looked, and this road, Johnson Street Road, was paved in 1975, and 1976 is when it was redone, and you can see where the curb and gutter was actually placed at that time. So if the council so chooses for me to proceed with doing something with that road, I'm more than happy to do that. But my opinion is to leave it as is and spend our money on other streets.
I come back up. 1975, they redid Johnson Street Road, or whenever he said, And they put the curbs in to match the single lane road, not where the road, you have 66 feet of right of way. 31 foot of it is road, roughly 16 feet on each side is called easement. Okay, what I'm talking about, this road, if you people have driven out there, this road is not even in the road right of way. This road is on the east side easement, on the end towards Johnson Street Road completely on the easement, not on the road, not on the 31 foot of road right of way, which is the center of it, but on the easement of the road. The church that is on that easement, or that has that easement, it's right to their property. The road drives right along their property. You go on down to the next man, and it takes about, 10 or 12 foot of his easement coming down. The road's right down the easement, one lane road right down the easement on that better half of block 24. Down to my side, it's about 6 or 8 feet, taking the easement away. If I asked about putting a culvert in, and they say, I can't do it. The people across the street can put a culvert in. They put a culvert in. They say, I can't do it because it'll be out in the middle of the road right of way, the 31 foot of road right of way. And I think that, well, for safety reasons, it should be worked on. It's been 100 years. That's a long time. They saved a lot of money on that road by not doing anything other than putting a little gravel on it or grading it and stuff. And I think it's time to work on one block. That's all I'm talking about. One block.
Robert, Pam, just a question. I'm not going to use the right term. Was it a covert?
Culvert.
Sorry. That drain. If he wanted that, what kind of process could we go through to get him one of those? Even if
He can put a culvert in, he just cannot put the culvert in where he wants to put it at. He wants to put it out on the edge of the easement where the edge of the roadway should be. He can put a culvert in, it just has to be back.
okay.
Do we have any more citizens' requests?
Hi, my name is Amanda Rogers. I'm from the Best You Coalition in Lee County. I live at 1307 Blondo Street here in town. Linda is passing out a handout. Thank you. I'm just here to briefly update council on some of the things that we're working on as a coalition. On the one side, you will see that we've started some merchant alcohol training. It is free to everyone, any business that sells or serves alcohol. The purpose of this training is to empower our youth, especially that are 16 and serving alcohol, to teach them to properly check ID, to make sure they're not serving intoxicated persons, things that the law demands. It's a free training, like I said, and I personally give the training. Right now, we're having them at the Lee County Sheriff's offices. The next ones will be in August. The dates are on there. To sign up, you just email me and I get you signed up. It's very easy. Our plan is to have this every other month in Lee County. I also will be doing the trainings in Van Buren County too, so they will be every other month also. On the other side, you'll see some of the things that we're working on currently. We held some pretty awesome focus groups back in May. We held an adult focus group. We had 11 participants that came and had a really great community discussion about substance use in our county. It's very beneficial. A lot of great ideas came from that. Almost all of them ended up joining our coalition, so we're excited to move forward with some new voices. We also held a youth focus group. Out of that came a really great partnership with Matt McGacky's Leadership Club at the high school, so I'll be partnering with them in the fall. I also, with my association with the YMCA, I have worked there since 2012. I will be working with their teen center program, the sixth graders especially, giving them some life skills basics. I'm very excited about that, some leadership skills. And we're going to hopefully do some community projects out in the community that benefit our community. Any questions? Our next meeting is actually going to be on July 12th at 4 o'clock at Keokuk High School. We'd love to have you guys, one, come to our meetings, and I think your perspective would bring a lot to our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for all your input today. Anybody else? Okay, let's move on to item number 6, consent agenda. Minutes of the council workshop and regular city council meeting of June 16th, 2022. Minutes of the safety committee meeting of June 16th, 2022. Resolution approving liquor license for Arrowhead Bowl, 3535 Main Street, effective August 1st, 2022. Class C liquor license with Sunday sales. Special event permit for John Morris firework display at 1025 Cleveland Avenue, Saturday, August 6, 2022, at 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Motion to pay the bills and transfers listed in registrar's numbers 5280 to 5282. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda and including the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You got it.
We do have some entertainment tonight. Item number 7. A, now is the time and place for a public hearing on a request to amend Title 20 of the Keokuk Municipal Code by adding homeless shelters as special uses. A public hearing notice was published in the Daily Gate City on Monday, June 20th at 2022. I am opening the public hearing at 5:56 p.m.
A public hearing is required for all zoning amendments. The proposed amendment to the zoning code to add homeless shelters as special use and to add a new section to establish standards, procedures, and the location of homeless shelters was approved and forwarded to the City Council by the City Planning Commission on May 23rd, 2022. Staff recommends that the proposed ordinance be amended by allowing homeless shelters to be located in an R4 multifamily and commercial zoning districts only. I do feel that the Planning Commission advised an R2, which is a 2-family dwelling district. I do not feel that that is really a compatible use with an R2. R4 districts allow multifamily dwellings, medical clinics, rooming houses, boarding houses, nursing, rest, and convalescent homes, office buildings. I think that that type of use is more compatible with an R4.
Pam, when we last talked about this, there were 2 zones that were being proposed. So was that R2 and R4, or was there an R3 involved?
So actually, it's R3, R4. It would be anything above an R3. So there's several zones, R3, R4, commercial, and industrial would not include. So this would just be R4, and then any commercial, which is C1, C2, C3, C4.
Okay, so R3 would not be part of them.
It would not be part of
Okay.
it, which
Thank
is 2-family.
Is the location on Concert Street an R3?
It is. It
Okay.
abuts on C2, which is commercial, general commercial, and that could easily be rezoned commercial. The actual comprehensive plan does show that area in the future land use as commercial.
And that structure would be compatible, even though it's an R3, technically, the structure that's there now?
So the structure that's there now actually was non-conforming. It's a grandfathered use. Funeral homes would not be allowed in that zone at this point. I mean, if it was wanted to be built there, it could not be rebuilt there.
I'm saying that the structure that's there now would be suitable for a homeless shelter, in your opinion?
I have not went through it. I believe it's large enough. It has parking. But I have not been through it to see what kind of rooms, but, rooms partitions needed to be put up, taken down. I couldn't tell you that. I believe it's maybe 3,000 to 4,000 square feet.
So the process then, if that location were to be desirable for the homeless shelter, as this amendment to the zoning code is proposed, they would rezone that particular parcel as commercial, and then it would be allowed to get the special use permit.
So they would request rezoning, that would go through the planning commission, and then it would come to the council to adopt a rezoning on it. Yes.
Any further discussion? City Clerk, any written comments or objections that have been received? There being no further comments or objections on this matter, I will close the public hearing at 6:00 p.m. 7B, initial reading of the ordinance amendment to zoning ordinance adding homeless shelter to special uses. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We need a roll call.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Altai,
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Nguyen,
Aye.
Ellenthal,
Ellenthal?
Aye.
Andrews,
Aye.
Marsden,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Do I have a motion to waive the second and third reading for this ordinance?
Madam Mayor, I would suggest that this ordinance be given all 3 readings.
And I would like to say, I don't know if you wanted to amend it, but as it's written, R3 is in there. Sorry.
That's not as it was proposed to us just now.
It's in there. I would like it amended. I had to present it to you as the planning commission presented it to you.
Okay.
My recommendation is to amend.
So how do we handle that procedurally? Because that changes my vote.
What I would suggest is that on the second reading, that you amend it at that time, which you can do. So amend it with the second reading and move on from there.
Okay.
You've already passed the first reading, and again, I suggest taking it to all 3 readings.
Correct.
On the second reading, you're allowed to amend without upsetting the process.
Okay, thank you.
So there's no motion to, okay. Item number 8. A, now is the time and place for the public hearing of disposal and transfer of the real estate 415 Blondo interests of the city by sealed bid. A public hearing notice was published in the Daily Gate City on June 20th, 2022. I am opening a public hearing at 6:02 p.m.
Keokuk Partners LLC has placed a bid on 415 Blondo, which is the previous City Hall location. They own the property at 407, which is an apartment building and some commercial space. They would like to increase their lot size by combining and use the parking lot and recreational space for their tenants. There was an appraisal on the property. It was $25,000. Their bid amount is $15,000. There was no other bids.
As should be noted that by soliciting bids, the council is allowed to accept offers lower than the appraised value, should they so desire. Through this process, you are also allowed to either reject, accept, or counter the offer. So if you feel that the offer is too low, we as staff believe that 15,000 is probably the best offer we're going to get. I don't think we'll get somebody to pay the appraised value, but it is up to the council's decision.
They will also pay the appraisal fee of $600 and any publication fees and recording fees.
I think
And
that
this
looks a
means we're
lot
not
better than the
maintaining it.
500 to 1,000 we normally get for lots.
Yeah. And we're no longer maintaining it, so.
And I made sure that the previous individual that was interested in it received the publication by email, and the property owner of the old YMCA also is aware of that, and they did not put a bid on it.
Any more comments? Any further discussion? City Clerk, any written comments or objections have been received? There being no further comments or objections on this matter, I will close the public hearing at 6:04 PM.
This
AP.
includes all the property. I mean, there's 2 parking spots over there on 4th Street.
I'm sorry, Roger?
This includes all that property that was a former city.
Yes, the parking lot and the vacant lot, the grassy lot.
How about the 2 or 3 parking spots there on 4th Street?
That
Those-
actually was just a easement. I guess the city of Keokuk still owns that, and
That's not in this.
it's
No.
not in this. No, it's
Or,
not.
or the other
No, this is,
parking spots on 5th Street.
No.
no, this is specifically for 415 Bondo, the parking lot and the vacant lot.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the bid of 15,000 for that property.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Item number 9, motion to approve the third final reading of an amended ordinance amending the employee residence requirements. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry, John, you already got the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do I have a second?
Motion dies for lack of.
Motion dies for lack of second. Item number 10, initial reading of the ordinance repealing section 1.08 describing the corporate.
Are we not going to discuss that?
That was the motion to.
If you have not got, without a second to the motion, then no, you,
Actually, it's still, okay, then second. Sorry.
John, is your motion still valid?
Yes. From what I can hear, I can't hear all the mics real well.
Or, okay, so the motion's still valid.
Second.
Okay, now we do now have a second.
Do we have any discussion?
I would like to give my opinion. I know I've been in favor of this from the beginning. I would like to say that I have reconsidered my position. I've been contacted by many constituents, and I have had 0 in favor of passing this. One of the points that was brought up multiple times on why looking at our residency requirement was important was because of the difficulty of hiring in the police department. And one of the discussions we had with that was that they would not be able to go out of state because of transferring firearms across state lines. So if we were to pass this at this time, it would not have a bearing on the police department where we are currently struggling with hiring. And so I think another heart or issue with this is the housing stock that we have in town. And are we looking at it from the correct angle to just make it so that people can find a more desirable home somewhere else? Or should we be looking at, we need to address and get desirable housing so that we can recruit into our town, as opposed to just recruiting the best employee, but allowing them to live somewhere else? So as I've talked to people and as I've thought it over, those points have hit home with me with why I've changed my stance at this particular time.
I'm still in favor of it. However, I'll be voting no against state lines because that's what constituents, that's how they feel and that's their opinion, and I respect it. And that's my job here, is to represent them and not my opinion. However, I do think it's important to note that many people don't understand the ordinance as it's written now. You do not have to live in the city limits now. That's the law. Municipal code says you have 10 miles. Yeah, you have to live in the state. I'm just saying we have lots of people who are misunderstanding that you do not have to live in the city limits today. So we have that. 2, thinking that people in Hamilton Cahokia, Carthage won't support it as much as people who live in St. Paul, Franklin, Denmark don't support Keokuk as much as is sort of crazy. When you look at distance and actual mileage, those people are coming here way more than the people in Denmark, Franklin, St. Paul. I do think it's important to note that to be progressive, 85% of America's workforce are commuting to work. They just are. We have the housing shortage, which is why I'm in favor of it. But it's a double-edged sword. We can't miss out on good people coming here and becoming interested while we wait on the houses to be built. So that's where I'm at. I still think that the police department must have all of Lee County as an option. So I'd like to, I guess, either amend that or put that in there somehow, or if we have to revisit it and do 3 more readings. But the police department needs to have a bigger pool to hire from. They have done job fairs, SEC. They have done all of their due diligence. We need a bigger pool.
Cole, with the current ordinance that's in effect, are we able to adjust the police department by resolution, or does that need an
No,
ordinance?
that would need to be an ordinance because this ordinance would allow you to set the limitations by resolution. But the ordinance also, as written, removed the residency requirement for the state of Iowa. You're also on the 3rd reading, so you cannot amend it at this time. You'd have to start the process all over again with the new ordinance, or take this back to its 2nd reading. But I would suggest, given the discussion tonight, that this be placed on a workshop and what the council then desires be placed into an ordinance.
I do want to speak similarly when it comes to the ordinance. I've received a good amount of emails. We all saw that there was signatures signed. I calculated how much of those signatures were from my ward alone, which got me around 20% of those signatures were from 5th Ward. So I feel very similarly to Councilman Garcia in the sense that in the moral dilemma of the housing issue and giving them giving options and getting a good some applicants or more applicants or a bigger pool to how do I use that voice is your voice and reacting in that way. I will like to say that sometimes when these issues come about, even though I will be voting no for that, so I'll make that clear now, even though I'll be voting no for that 3rd passage, the data does get skewed a little when there are issues that are controversial. So a lot of the phone calls I get are negative, or in opposition, I shouldn't say negative, in opposition of what's coming forth. And when all of the phone calls are against it, it does seem like my data is completely for it when I have a larger district than that. And I didn't have 0. I did have several emails and phone calls, but not compared to the outpouring of people against the residency requirement. So I just plead with all citizens of Keokuk, if you were at all for any issue that ever comes to city council that you are sitting there and agree with, not necessarily this one, but an issue, please voice that to your councilman, to your mayor, to your city administrator, to your at-large, because if we don't hear your voice, you don't get into that data, and you could be sitting there saying, oh, wait, it was fine the way it was. But here we are having an outpouring of people against it, and it does seem that way. So I will be voting no. I would wish to hear from those people at future times. So that's just my plead there. That's it.
Could this be tabled at this time so we can look at expanding I've been against just for the record, I've been against expanding across state lines from the beginning. But I do think we need to expand our borders within the state. The 10-mile limit is a little bit restrictive. And so
Again, I suggest placing this on a workshop and
Right.
starting it from scratch. Because if we start amending without having a lot of discussion or anything else, it's going to get convoluted. So again, my suggestion would be to place this on a workshop and start all over.
I think that's fine, but I'd like it to be just an ordinance and not an ordinance with a resolution. If we could go in with that mindset that the ordinance is written with no resolution.
That's fine. The only reason why I suggested the resolution was because we were going to have, we possibly could have
With
three different
differences.
tiers of
Mhm.
of employees, and it's easier to do it by resolution than putting it all into the ordinance. But if all you're talking about is expanding the limits for one department, that could easily be written in.
Also like to say that a lot of my phone calls against the residency was just for Missouri and Illinois. I did have several talking about if you would like, Lee County's okay, or they felt it was either Lee County was okay or only in the city of Keokuk. There wasn't a lot of in between. Councilman Garcia spoke on it earlier, that it already reads that you can be 10 miles outside of city limits. But if you are for that, please contact your councilman. If you're in agreement of that, please make that known so that it goes into it.
So we have a motion and a second.
We do have a motion and a second.
Yes, we do. So, and we're going to have a roll call.
Crenshaw,
No.
Altai. No. Garcia,
No.
Nguyen,
No.
Lowenthal.
Lowenthal?
Cole, can you refresh what was said? I can't hear it all.
Okay.
What I'm saying yes or no to?
This is the motion on the employee residency ordinance.
Okay.
So it's as of right now,
No.
you have 4 nay votes with you voting the 5th.
Okay, this is for the third reading, not amended or anything else. It's just what the third reading was.
It's for the 3rd reading, yes.
Aye.
Andrews,
No.
Marsden,
No.
Bryant,
No.
Greenwald,
No.
Defeated.
Motion fails. Item number 9. No, I'm sorry. Item number 10, initial reading of the ordinance repealing section 1.08, describing the corporate limits of the city of Keokuk, Lee County, Iowa, and enacting a new section 1.08. Motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
These 2 parcels were annexed into the city in 2006 and 2007. A 14-acre parcel located west of the bypass off of Highway 136 and a 5-acre tract at the corner of Hilton Road and Highway 61. Our ordinance was not updated adding those tracts, so we need to do so. I am requesting that the 2nd and 3rd readings be waived because the next ordinance is dependent upon this ordinance, and we need to get the next ordinance passed and into the state as well. So I will be asking that the 2nd and 3rd readings on this ordinance be waived.
Any more discussion?
So this is just housekeeping, cleaning up from 16 years ago that
Correct.
didn't get done correctly.
Correct.
There was no residential properties in those tracts. One's just City of Keokuk borrow site. There's soil that the city gets out of there. I believe the shooting range is also in that area. And then the other is Liberty Utilities property. So as far as when the ward, it never occurred, I don't think, to anyone because there was no houses, residents in those that, but some of the, when the state did send us back our ordinance for our wards, the discrepancies were, they were following what was in our code, and I was following what was in our zoning map, which included these parcels. So there was some problems there. So John and Jason with Public Works helped get those descriptions corrected, and so I do want to thank them and give them some credit.
Any more discussion? I need a roll call.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Altai.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Nguyen,
Aye.
Lowenthal,
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Andrews, Marsden,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to waive the second and third.
Second.
The motion was accepted, John.
Any more discussion? So I need a roll call.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Altai,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Wynn, Ellenthal,
Hellenthal?
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Marsden.
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
We have a motion to adopt, we need a motion to adopt and give final approval to the ordinance. Do I have a first,
So moved.
second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Item number 11, initial reading of the ordinance amending Chapter 1.12, Wards 1 through 7. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Any discussion?
The original ordinance passed in November 2021 conflicted with Lee County's ordinance. The Iowa Secretary of State sent back a corrected ordinance that must be adopted. The ordinance has been reviewed and approved by the Secretary of State's office. And again, I will ask that the second and third readings be waived on this as well, so we can get this filed. And just so you know, the delay of getting this was from the Secretary of State's office. Every time we called them, didn't get a call back, emailed them, didn't get an email back.
Any more comments?
Are there any changes on this new one that they sent back?
The only change that I could actually determine was in between the 5th and 7th Ward. There was a little area that jotted down to Park Lane. That was the only thing that I could tell that was different, other than us having to change the.
I think Fourth Ward changed a little bit. Across Main Street.
Okay.
Yeah, it changed the numbers just a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, I think those were just number changes, and she said we could use whatever numbers we wanted to do as far as the 2A and 2B or precinct 1, 2, whatever it was. I'm just thankful it's done again in 10 years. I won't have to do it again.
I was going to ask Pam, it does in the document that when it reads, because I noticed that too in Fifth Ward, there used to be 16th Street, a little bit of it, and now it's not. And then it looks like it might be part of Fourth Ward because you jump over that line, which is fine. My point was when I was reading it, it talked about wards and then precincts, and it talks about Ward 1 having precinct 1, but then it skips precinct 3. And I wasn't sure what was precinct 3 that it skips because it immediately goes to 4, then 5, then 6. So I'm precinct 6. You would think it'd be precinct 5, but.
Unless what it is Ward 3 and Precinct 3 did not change.
It just seemed like, to me, what I thought when I read it, and again, it was a precinct 1, and then their precinct 2 and Ward 2 had a 2A and a 2B.
Correct.
And then I thought, okay, well, maybe that, because there's 2 there's no precinct 3, and it skipped to 4.
Well,
Does that make sense? I don't know.
again, what it is the ordinance may only change those that, those wards or precincts that had any changes in them. So Ward 3 may not have changed.
Let me just
Okay.
check it real quick, okay?
Ward 3 changed. It's just a precinct number next to it.
Okay. Oh, we're waiting here, just a second.
Yeah, it actually, I believe that before we had, and I do see what you're saying, before we had precinct, on Ward 2, it was precinct 2 and 3.
So it was, and then they changed it.
And
to
then they
2A.
changed it to 2 and 2A. So I do see what you're saying, that actually could be,
It does make it, I know when you get an
yeah,
official
it's-
letter,
Yes.
it looks a
It
little
is.
wonky to not have the same numbers there. I understand now. I just wanted to know if we weren't missing a precinct.
Which we could change those to Third Ward consists of Precinct 3. I mean, that could be amended and go on, but you could just leave it like it is. I mean, it's
Okay.
not going to hurt anything.
Right, right. I mean, it's been like this for
Yeah,
years and years
yeah,
and years, so
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a typical.
Yep, that's
Typo and
exactly what
stuff
it
like that.
was.
Everyone will get new voter registration cards telling them what precinct they're in, where to vote, so.
Precinct, okay, yeah.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Alzide,
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Lynn,
Aye.
Hollenthal,
Hohenthal?
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Marsden,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Do I have a motion to waive the second and third reading of this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Need a roll call?
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Alzide, Garcia, Lynn,
Aye.
Hollenthal,
Hohenthal?
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Marsden,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
Motion to adopt and give final approval for this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 12, consider resolution recommendations for American Legal Publishing to complete codification of the municipal code. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We received two proposals, one from Civic Plus Muni Code, which is our current online code provider, and American Legal Publishing. Civic Plus submitted a proposal of $21,080. American Legal Publishing submitted a proposal of $11,232.50. Annual fees, Civic Plus is a $350 administrative support fee and a $650 web hosting fee annually. American Legal is $0 for support, $250 year one, and $495 year after for web hosting.
Pam or Cole, it says that this item was budgeted, but there was no amount budgeted. Could you give clarity to that?
I did not get clarification I had sent an email, and I wasn't positive what that was. So did you guys get a chance to look that up?
Did you look it up? She got the account number, but not the
What
amount.
the amount was
I believe we
budgeted.
had, it's somewhere, it's a number between $10,000 and $15,000 that we had budgeted.
Okay.
So this is not, the item is not, it does not designate which one we go with.
No, the state does not designate, is that what you're asking?
No, I'm asking which one of these proposals that.
Oh, well, we're asking to go with the lesser.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not in this.
Yeah, it's not in that, but the item on the agenda was to approve the contract with Civic Plus.
Okay.
Pam, if it was to be, let's say it is 10,000, which we don't know, that you had
Mhm,
budgeted,
mhm.
so we'd be over by 232.50. Would you have that within your budget to make that
Actually,
happen?
that's not in my budget. That's in mayor council.
Oh,
It's
we have
actually,
that in our budget.
it's actually, it was budgeted in last year's budget, not the new fiscal year, so we would have to amend in. But we can certainly find $1,232. I believe that overall through the general fund, when it's done, that we will have not spent all of last year's budget.
Okay.
So there will be room for this.
Pam, any explanation for the discrepancy between the two bids? It's pretty drastic, I think.
It is drastic. I was a little disappointed, MuniCode, because they are our current provider. They have all the information. I don't know what the discrepancy was. American Legal, I have, they do have a list of the ones that they have, that they provide. And those, I looked through those, they all look fairly common. I mean, there's nothing that I could tell what the discrepancy was.
Sure. And then, can you refresh our memory, the work that we're hiring them to do?
So we're
Um,
doing recodification,
Mhm.
which is just arranging laws and rules and laws is more or less what it is. So they will look through and make sure that all of our laws and regulations are matched with the states. They will see if there's any conflicting old rules and regulations that we do not use. Cole, can you think of anything else that's?
No, that's about right. So they'll do a complete review again. They'll look to see if there's anything old in there that we're not using, anything that conflicts with state or federal code. I can tell you right now, the UTV ordinance has a conflict because the state just passed a law on the fees. So they'll go through, they'll do that. If there are suggested changes, because I believe that in the proposal, they will come and, basically hold a work session with us to go through it. And so if there are suggestions, then they can be added at that time.
And this is something that the council and Pam have both said it's needed to be done for years.
For years.
Until the online codes started coming out, because technically with the online code, everything is codified. Before that, once every 10 years, cities had to recodify their codes when it was only paper. It's good and bad. It saves some money, but only if you're paying attention and cleaning everything up as you go. Otherwise, this is something that needs to be done. So from this point forward, what we need to do is make sure that we're cleaning things up.
Our last major code, I'm not sure if it was codified at that time, I believe it was 1983.
What is the time frame on how long it would take to get it completed?
What was that? It wasn't a drastic length of time.
You would have to ask me that one. Sorry.
I believe it was less than a year, but
It
Pam's looking
was.
it up here.
Now, there is I do want you to know that going with American Legal, this will change our hosting service. It is hosted now with MuniCode. They'll be hosted with American Legal, and we would have a 5-year contract with them to host the code. And I'm sorry, Carissa, I will find that for you.
What's that? What, the 11,000? 11,000 is one time. One time. It's the annual fees. The annual fees
Below one.
with them, yeah. Again, with American Legal, we're saving, calculating here, 200, 100, let's say 150, we're saving $500 a year.
On page 12 of American Legal's proposal, it says within 7 months.
And where it talks about the $0 for support, does that mean there's just no support option?
No, it's not. No, it's just that we don't pay for the support.
Okay.
They offer it as a service.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not seeing that one.
We got it, Pam, 7 months.
Okay. And also, the zoning code is not including in the recodification because that's a separate, we're trying to get proposals to redo the zoning code. So
Which was
this
the map thing.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
So they didn't want to do that and then us change it again. So that's not included in either one of them.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 13, consider resolution setting a time and a place to conduct a public hearing on the status of the funded activities for the City of Keokuk CDBG Housing Sustainability Rehabilitation Program. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Section 508 of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1987 requires a public hearing for the Housing Sustainability Rehabilitation Grant to discuss funding status. Keokuk has received funds as part of the CDBG program and is required to hold a hearing, and staff recommends July 21, 2022 at 5:30 PM.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Item number 14, motion to approve the exception to the permit the Leggett Memorial to remain in Oakland Cemetery.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Oh, sorry.
Aye.
Sorry, guys.
I was just going to say that this has been a very sensitive subject for people on both sides of this. And I think at the time, Mr. Leggett felt like he was given all the right go ahead to do this, to build this monument. And going forward, we are going to be more diligent as a city with our ordinances and our rules to make sure that everybody's on the same page so that something like this doesn't have to cause the grief and the problems that this has caused for people on both sides of the issue. And so, yeah, I just wanted to comment on that.
Any more comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Item number 15, boards and commissions.
We have 2 final notifications, so a vote is required, and 1 resignation. Veterans Memorial Commission, final notification, Dustin Cackley. Keokuk Housing Authority, final notification, Sylvia Mills Eccles. And resignation is from the Keokuk Municipal Waterworks, Mike Hosh. That is a mayoral appointment, but we do have to accept the resignation. So you can do that as an omnibus motion.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The mayor already talked on this for Main Street Keokuk, Inc., but this Saturday, July 9th, is our summer fun fundraiser event, 6:30 to 10. It will be right here downtown. It's Moonlight in the Serengeti, so it's like a themed party. You don't have to come themed, but you can. If you need tickets, I can sell them to you. I have it on me. There's tables available if you call Main Street. So come and enjoy the fun and help us raise funds for Main Street for downtown Keokuk to help some revitalization efforts there. And then she also did speak on Crazy Days and Citywide Garage Sales, which is July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And Radio Keokuk does an online, like if you paid $10, you can put it online in an interactive, and you can still do that. So like she said, go through your stuff, get on that. I know I'm doing it, so you guys should too. And just support downtown Keokuk and support Main Street. I appreciate it.
Cole, I don't have a liaison report, but the Keokuk Cultural and Entertainment District has extended an invitation to me to be their liaison, and I've accepted it from them. So whatever you need to do on your end to.
We'll put it on the next agenda. And that's the Arts and Entertainment.
Cultural and Entertainment District.
Do we have any more council liaison reports?
I don't really have a council liaison report either, but I did want to comment on what a fantastic job that they did with the fireworks and all of that. When you mentioned that before, great time for a city our size. I think it was fantastic, and everything that was revolved around that was a good time. So there's a lot of things going on in Keokuk. We just have to be involved, like what's going on with Main Street fundraisers. There's lots of stuff to do if people just get involved in it and support their community.
I'm not a liaison, but the 4th of July, the park looked exceptionally well. The employees should be congratulated for the work they done. It looked great.
Anybody else? Okay, item number 17, staff reports.
Robert or Pam? Right,
I do.
ADM, oh,
I
Robert,
was waiting
go
to see
ahead,
if she
Robert.
did. We sent out the dog park rules. I think every one of you got that in an email. Is that correct? Did anybody have any concerns? The park board looked this over. They've recommended that this is what we put for the permanent rules at the dog park.
It says proper vaccinations and tags. The only vaccine that has a tag is rabies, but I feel like distemper parvo should be part of what is called proper vaccination for dogs. So just wanted to say that out there just in case that got overlooked.
Do you want that included on the sign, or how do you?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Which it's a common core vaccine that anyone who's getting rabies is getting that as well.
Okay, we'll include that on there. And then, once we're done with that, I just wanted to say that the contractor that was planning on pouring the concrete for the splash pad today, weather held him up on that, so the splash pad's moving along. Our street department's been doing as much tree removal and mowing of the right-of-ways as they can get to. We're planning on next week, give or take the weather and staff levels, of putting the second coat of chip seal on Crest Court, Windsor Heights, and Decatur Street. And the Rainbow Drive lift station is progressing. It's been kind of slow. Getting material has been a struggle for them. They do have the storm sewer almost completed, which most of you won't know but the storm sewer used to stop short of going past the lift station, so it's going to be extended out so we can put a better drive into this area, and it'll better drainage and improve that situation considerably. And then, Mike, you asked me about Hazelhurst. I've met with ITC. I met with them probably a month ago. We went over damage to the road. They agreed to repair all the areas that I had marked out. Since then, there's been more work that's been done by another contractor or a couple contractors in the areas. We've had more road damage. I emailed them the other day, sent pictures to them, marked the areas out. They have agreed to repair all the areas that I've asked for, but they are struggling to find a contractor to come and do the work. So it's in the works, but keep in mind, we're not redoing the whole road. You know, we took pictures and videos of the roadway before they started, and all we're asking them to do is fix what was damaged during their project. So,
Robert, when will the resurfacing of the Victory Park area be done?
it's next week or the week after the contractor's supposed to be coming. I don't have the date right in front of me, but we have been in contact with them multiple times,
And that will extend from where to where? Because I've had some people ask me how that's going to affect like the South Side Club and getting to the boat ramps.
okay, so the roadway going to the boat ramp, they'll have to do half of it at a time. So that road will not be closed. It will make one-way traffic, one-lane traffic during certain times there. The south side, I would say the same thing on that parking lot. Half of it will probably be closed while they, when they do it. It will start at the parking area at Victory Park and between the river and Marody Shelter House. That area will be done all the way to the boat ramp. The part that won't be done is the part that we re-asphalted a couple years ago, by the railroad tracks. The road will not be closed. It will be restricted to one lane, but will not be closed.
Pam, could you speak on the zebra crossings? by chance? Those zebra stripe crossings from over by George Washington in the library. I'm sorry.
Crosswalks.
Crosswalks, yes.
Mike?
Actually, there was a couple of things I should have reported on. The city did receive more funding for our 600 block buildings. It was $100,000 for a catalyst grant. So that brings us up to $700,000 in funding that we have received for those buildings. Shelley Altmans, the chamber director, myself, and there's a few other people that were working on a request for proposals for those buildings. So hopefully we'll get those out before too long and get started. We still need to get criteria contracts from the state, that kind of information. But as soon as we get the go-ahead on that, we will be ready for them. The crosswalks, Linda, I honestly did not take a close look at those crosswalks where they were going to be. I just forwarded them to the city council. I do know that they were going to do a pop-up of a temporary bike lanes on Concert. City council did not feel that that was a safe option, so she came back with doing some crosswalks for bicycling, walking, that type of information. So I'm sorry, I don't have the locations, but
I mean, I saw the locations on the email, but I do know that last year when they put up the temporary bike lane over on
Messenger,
it kind of went up quick because it was, the funding was, there was a time frame to use that funding
Correct,
from them.
correct.
So I just wanted to know if we were, with school, it came really close to the beginning of the school year. I'd like to encourage that it kind of doesn't come right abutting to it, like it did last year at Messenger, because it did cause a little bit confusion for those parents there. And at GW, I think it could cause again, well, crosswalk shouldn't, I guess, because there were partitions there, but just was hoping that they could use it at the beginning of the school year too, as they walk
I
to
will
school.
speak with Concha. I will CC everyone on that email, and we can get further information on timeline.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So ADM, staff forwarded a draft consent order to ADM and did have a discussion with them yesterday. A final draft, or I should say a final complete final order has been prepared and will be sent to ADM shortly. City Attorney Dennis prepared and sent a response to ADM's appeal of the administrative fines related to their discharge in March that caused the upset interference to our plant. A copy of the response was emailed to each of you as well. South 18th Street staff will be preparing a request for proposal for engineering services related to South 18th Street. With the high probability of receiving earmark funds, we need to be ready to begin the project. The earmark would only be for a portion of the financing needed, but council requested that staff look at bonding for additional street repair, and the funds necessary for the remainder will come from the proceeds of debt and or any other donations or grants. 600 block buildings, if you do not already know, the city has been awarded $100,000 in catalyst grant funding for the buildings on the 600 block of Main Street. Community Development Director Broomhall was notified the week of June 20th of the award. Total incentives of the project now stand at $900,000. Staff will be working with Southeast Iowa Regional Planning to solicit proposals from developers. A timeline has not yet been established, though. And as I mentioned earlier, the state did pass a bill. Basically, what it said is that the city can still regulate UTVs as to where they go, when they operate, and have them permitted. We just cannot charge for the permit starting July 1. So there is that. Our ordinance still allows a charge for golf carts. So unless the council wants that changed, we will continue to charge for the golf cart permit. That's all I have.
How does that impact those that had already purchased permits?
There is no refund with the ordinance because we acted under the previous state code. And I asked legal experts and they said, there's no provision for a refund.
Is
Right.
there,
Go ahead.
is there a way to amend the code for the golf carts as well? Because I don't think that the city should charge a fee for the golf carts if we're not able to charge a fee for the UTVs.
If the council so desires, we'll have an ordinance drafted amending the code to remove the fee for the golf carts. That's all I have.
Okay, item number 18, new business. With that being said, item number 19, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
5-minute break.
5-minute break, people.
All right, John, I'm hanging up on you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Uh-huh. No problem.
I guess that's something we maybe should get in here, huh?
Yes, sir?
Is there one over there?
I'll give you a copy of the minutes. I'll give you a copy of the minutes. Of the, no. I mean a paper copy. We have to write minutes out. And so it'll say, this is what the topic was. This was the motion. This was the vote. So you'll get the official minutes. Okay?
No problem.
All right.